It's Wednesday afternoon. Are you feeling midweek blues? Are you? Don't you worry. We're feeling happy blues. Have a look at us. Nice looking blue set, blue suit. Two gentlemen who represented India wearing the blues as well. Zaheer Khan and Dinesh Karthik join us on Cricbuzz Live as we get into third and final ODI of this three-match series. India won at Wankhede. Australia struck back in Visakhapatnam, and it's now down to this third and final ODI, which is being played at Bell Road, Chepauk, Chennai, M.A. Chidambaram Stadium, which is such an integral part of India's cricketing history. Zaheer Khan's picked up a three-wicket haul against the West Indies at this very ground. I'm sure he has fond memories as well. Dinesh Karthik, for a change, joins us from his comfortable palatial bungalow, which is about 5 minutes away from the stadium. DK, firstly, how many calls have you got since the last 3 days for free tickets?
No, whenever there's a game that happens in your hometown, that's the biggest hassle anybody has to deal with. People thinking that all the players and the association will just hand over tickets to you and you end up spreading it around, but that's never the case. It's always a case of trying to say no to a lot of people. I think over a period of time, people will know that it becomes a headache when they end up playing in your hometown. And this has been one such occasion where the same feeling has come for me. But luckily, I think, but what's good about the fact that the match is happening in Chennai is after the new stands have been opened up, this stadium looks beautiful. It's a very hot day, but the crowds have lined up in big numbers. It's going to be a full house.
And Zaheer Khan knows a thing or two about playing at that venue in front of a big crowd. You played a massive World Cup game there as well. There's something about Chennai, isn't it?
Absolutely. And one thing which stands out is the weather.
Yeah.
It's not easy to be just going in Chennai and getting acclimatized and then coming up with good performances. So that weather challenge is always going to be there. It's going to be hot and humid. So you have to hydrate yourself well. Those are the talks which usually happens, isn't it? The trainers and the physios around the team will always remind you, will always warn you, and keep track of things as well. So that is one very integral part of preparation when it comes to going to Chennai and playing a game.
Yes, it will be hot and humid and happening in Chennai. A big crowd is expected there as well. For a change, probably for the last time this year, they will not be supporting a team in yellow. You know what's going to happen a week later there. But we'll see what happens. It's a decider. As I said, India won at the Wankhede. Australia won in Visakhapatnam. This is the third and final decider. Zach, teams want to compete, want to play competitive matches, but in a World Cup year, India would rather play this third and final decider instead of winning 2-0 and playing an inconsequential dead rubber. Am I being naive by saying that?
No, it's a very important preparation. It's a very important part of the preparation when you're talking about a tournament like World Cup. There comes a game when everything is on that particular game for you to move on in the tournament and go ahead. You got to win those crucial games, and what those crucial games bring to you is the pressure. And if you are able to play a decider like this under pressure, when you know that if you don't do well today, the series is going to be lost. And that's the ideal kind of a scenario for the preparation. You are dealing with that kind of pressure and preparing yourself to kind of simulate what can happen in a crucial World Cup game when you have to put everything there, perform under pressure, and make sure that you stand up to the occasion. So from that point of view, I think this game will be a dress rehearsal of that. Australia, we were talking about being such a tough opposition. Very consistent playing cricket, performing. Even though they don't have the full squad right now, you don't have the first playing 11, which will possibly be featuring for Australia in the World Cup. They're still putting up a good show, and 1-1 the series score at this stage is making a perfect setup now for both the teams to go out there and experience and showcase their performance, their talent, and come up as victorious.
Yes, and India like playing these deciders. They've done very well as well. If you look at series since 2015, I believe, yes, as you can see on that graphic, India has lost these deciders only twice in as many series. So India's won the last 4 times. They've had to play a decider. Sensational record, DK, at home. Given that this is the case, India knows how to switch on that decider gear. What are the boxes that you think India need to take? Because this is probably the last home ODI game for a long time before India go to go to Ireland or the West Indies in July, August, what are the boxes that India must tick in this ODI?
First things first, if you look at that record, it tells you that the only time India have been beaten has been in a 5-match series. So that's a plus. The fact that in 3-match series we have never been beaten in a decider is a lot of confidence that you can draw from. I have been personally part of many 3-match series where the decider is gone. It is gone to the decider. The thing as a team that you want to be most aware of is the fact that you don't want to change your process. You don't want to not trust your process. And I think Team India has been good over a consistent period of time. That's why you see in the last 8 years, just the twice that we have lost. When it comes tactically, how are they going to approach the first 10 overs? In both games, they have gone for a few runs. They've found it hard to pick wickets. That is the biggest trouble when it comes to bowling. When it comes to batting, what Zach mentioned the previous time, how are we going to play Mitchell Stark? Just play out the spell. Though if there is no swing and if there's very little lateral movement from the pitch, then take him on and play shots that you're comfortable playing. That should be the outlook. Looking at the weather right now, as I'm sitting in Chennai, it's a hot day. There is very minimal chances of it swinging, especially if Australia are bowling first. So the chances to counter Stark becomes much, much better. Again, it's a great dress rehearsal for us over a period of time. The Trent bowls, the Shaheen Afridis have troubled us. So here is an opportunity to take up a claim against left-arm medium pace or left-arm fast bowling. Another beautiful opportunity, not only for the whole Indian team, but also the support staff in terms of how they have prepared. They had a net session yesterday at 5 o'clock as the cool breeze sets in. That also is the time that the ball swings a little bit. When people will know the Marina Beach in Chennai, when the sea breeze comes over, that is the interesting point where it does swing. So they chose to practice in the afternoon than in the morning. Tells you that they're trying to prepare in the right direction.
Yes, we've got some local intel from Dinesh Karthik. Australia have won the toss and they've chosen to bat first. A couple of changes, I've been told. No Cameron Green, David Warner comes in, and they've also added Ashton Agar as the additional spinner. So clearly, Zach horses for courses. They've looked at the pitch and they believe they will need that extra spin bowling option. So in that case, I suppose Nathan Ellis misses out despite a good performance that night. So they don't take emotional decisions, do they?
So this is a pure condition-based call. You got to make these calls, and usually when you look at the playing 11s, this will be the process. You have that whole squad of 15 or 16, whatever they're traveling with. Usually you have to take into account all these kind of factors. What if we are playing on a turner where we'll need extra spinner, who will come in and add that extra value, that extra edge which you often talk about. So this is just a part of process. I think these are good changes. David Warner fit is a good sign for the Australian team, and they had to make that space for sure, for him. And Mitchell Marsh, having proven his form and the impact which he has been providing, he has secured his spot in the team. We'll have to wait and see whether Mitchell Marsh actually opens the innings today, or Warner takes his place.
Yes.
That will be the next interesting call which we'll have to wait.
Yes, we'll have to talk about that threadbare as well. But what about India? India go in unchanged. So that means that India will have the surfaces of 3 spinners, Ravindra Jadeja, who Chennai loves, and he loves Chennai back as well, Akshar Patel and Kuldeep Yadav to join Shami and Siraj, plus Hardik Pandya bowls as well. So the DK, no surprise that India have gone in unchanged, 3 spinners right on the mark.
Yes, the only change that we thought about was Washington Sundar, but it is understandable. There are more right-handers in this lineup, so they would have gone in again with an Akshar Patel. With the bat, he's been a revelation in the recent past. It gives them the confidence to bat deep. So it's a very fair 11, 3 spinners, 3 fast bowlers with Hardik Pandya as the third fast bowling option. They have covered all bases. It looks a solid side. The key is how well they can bat in the evening conditions when they come back. There will be swing in the evening when they do come back, when they bat around 5:36. The initial spell will be a challenge, but if they get through that, it'll obviously ease and out. Most importantly, right now that we are going to be bowling, it's going to be a hot day. There's going to be a lot of heat for spinners, but it will be easy to bat the medium pacers. Now, this is where the rules have played a part. If there was one new ball, this is the kind of venue. Zach would also tell you which aids reverse swing. The grass on the outfield is one of those which actually gets the ball rough. It's not one of those smooth outfields. The soil below is pretty hard, so the ball roughs up. And over the years, reverse swing has been the biggest game changer in Chennai. But now with the invent of two new balls in two different ends. Reverse swing is out of the picture. So playing fast bowling is going to be considerably easier. We will see that the fast bowlers might not bowl their full quota of 30 overs. You'll probably see 24, 25 overs, and the spinners chipping in with the rest of the 25 overs that is left. So it's going to be a very interesting challenge for India. Yesterday, all the venues for the World Cup has come out, and Chennai again being a part of that, you would get the feeling India will play a few games here. It in fact complements the kind of team that they want to choose, the three spinner, three fast bowler lineup. A great dress rehearsal for the World Cup, I would say.
Yes, and Rohit Sharma at the toss said that they wanted to field first. Perhaps a way to underplay the Mitchell Stark factor, saying we're okay to bat second. How tough is it to bat second, given that Stark is in the kind of rhythm he is?
Well, first of all, the batting innings then will be under the lights. So if you're talking about that, it will be less hot and humid. Comparatively during the day. So I think that's one of the calls which Australian team also have made right now. Looking at that, the wicket should get better to bat on. I feel unless the dew is not there. If dew is a factor, then it's a completely different ball game, and it might work in India's favor then, because they're fielding first right now. Australia will have to bowl under lights with some dew coming on. So that can make it challenging. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. But bowling first is not a bad option, I would say, at this stage. Maybe Australia have gone a little cautious, keeping the conditions in mind.
Right. The other thing that perhaps fans would be talking about and thinking about is, why not Washington Sundar? Is he part of India's World Cup plans? It's a happy crowd, isn't it, to see Akshar Patel. Ravindra Jadeja, of course, looked at not just as a spinner, but he's a bit of a package, as Zach mentioned before we began the show. And then there is Kuldeep Yadav as well. Zach, how tough is it to pick a second spinner? Assuming there's a World Cup game where India go in with only two, Jadeja +1, how tough is it to select that +1? Does Kuldeep have an edge over the likes of Chahal and Washington Sundar?
It surely looks like that, and whatever you've been hearing, from sitting here, you can only make judgments based on whatever is coming out from the Indian camp, and looking at the press conference from Rahul as well, that sends a very clear message about the thought process which they are following, which is giving consistent run. And that is something which is seen in the past as well. They still have three spinners right now playing in the playing 11. So that is the base thought to extract the maximum out of the conditions. Now, which three are going to take part is a combination of making that tactical call, looking at the opposition, and also the Chinaman bowler, the Chinaman angle, which Kuldeep brings in, is something which is not normal. So maybe that is something which I'm sure must be discussed, and that's why you're looking at Yuzvendra Chahal not being part of the playing 11, but Kuldeep is, and Chahal is a senior bowler who has been part of the team for the longest time. So Kuldeep has been in a decent form right now. His comeback of sorts has been really good for last one and a half year. So that is something which has earned him this spot, and when you know what you're going to get out of Chahal, sometimes you just kind of make that for your own clarity, the team management's clarity, and the comfort of the captain also comes into play here. So I'm sure the angle of Kuldeep Chahal and what he brings as a variety to the spin bowling attack is something which has gotten that slight edge ahead of Chahal at this point.
Yes, he missed out. Kuldeep Yadav missed out on one IPL, and since his return from injury, he's looked a much improved version of himself. DK, these numbers, of course, paint a picture as well. For you, given that these numbers are, and they tell a story that they do, does he have an edge over the other options, Washington Sundar and Akshar Patel, who can also bat a bit?
Look, I think we need to understand who they're playing against. Yes, Warner is coming to the scheme of things in this match, though it is filled with right-handers, Steven Smith, Mitchell Marsh, Manas Labuschagne, all of them, Cameron Green last game, all with right-handers. So you would understand the fact that they've gone in with Akshar Patel. Rahul Dravid has clearly stated in the press conference that they've narrowed it down to 17, 18 players. So if you do take a look at it, the rest of the players that will be in contention are, apart from the ones who are around, are going to be Washington Sundar, Jasprit Bumrah, Shreyas Iyer, Rishabh Pant, and the others. These are the only other names that they're looking at. Whether they're fit or not is the question for a lot of the other players there. Other than that, the biggest call that they need to take as we zero in on this World Cup is, are they going to go in with two left arm spinning all rounders or one left arm spinning all rounder and one Washington Sundar who's an off spinning all rounder? That will be the biggest call that they need to take. You get the feeling that that decision will be taken as late as possible after providing a lot of opportunities to both these bowlers, because it would be hard to carry both Akshar and Washington Sundar in that team. Then you might have to let go of a medium pacer, which they won't be keen on doing, I reckon. So as the number of games they play post the World Cup, which happens, there is West Indies tour, there is the Asia Cup, I've heard there are 3 more ODIs against Australia. By the Asia Cup, we will have a very, very clear picture as to who they are looking at in a serious manner. Is it Washington or is it Akshar Patel? And that would be arguably the biggest call that they need to make.
Rahul Dravid was quoted as saying that we believe in giving players a consistent run, post which we'll take a call on who we want to go with at the World Cup. This is what he said. And he said Kuldeep is the one that is getting the run over the last few games. The right approach, isn't it? Because then it doesn't create confusion in the ranks. Even the player that sits out knows that when my time comes, they will persist with me and give me enough opportunities to prove myself.
See, when you're talking about World Cup, you're talking about a tournament which comes once in 4 years. You got to do everything which is going to be fine tuned by the time World Cup is starting. And if you are looking about the process which one should follow, I think the simple process is that whoever is going to be part of your first playing 11 should be playing maximum number of games. As we've seen that not many ODIs are available at their disposal for players to get acclimatized with their roles, get familiar with their roles and responsibilities. And when you're talking about the pressure games, they should be playing together for that communication. I think that is something which is of utmost value when you're looking at that. And if your bowler is Kuldeep, then he should be playing through and through.
Yep.
If your bowler is Chahal, then he should be playing through and through. If someone is injured closer to the World Cup and all that you don't have any control over. But you got to give yourself the best chance. And I think for the Indian team to do well at the World Cup, their best chance is the first playing 11. Whoever they think should be playing as many games as possible leading up to the World Cup.
These two at one point played in unison. As they say, it takes two to tango, and these two had a great time together. Kulcha, not just a part of our breakfast menu, but they've served India well as well. But 5 options to choose from. Let's focus a little bit more on Kuldeep Yadav, DK. What makes him so special? Of course, it's the Chinaman variety as well. But what have you noticed him do differently in the last year and a half that has given him so much success?
I think failure is always a great place to learn, and it has been the biggest example over a period of time has to be Kuldeep Yadav. He had a tough couple of years. Things weren't going exactly how he wanted it to be. He went back to the drawing board post his surgery and figured out things that he needed to improve on. At some point, maybe he was believing that he was doing well, but not getting enough opportunities. But I think when he sat down and looked in the mirror, he realized that there were areas that he needed to improve. He went to his coach. The first thing that they changed is the angle of his run-up. He came much straighter. He got a lot more momentum going through the crease. For him, the biggest change was the amount of revolutions with the speed that he wanted to deliver in. And that has become the biggest change for him. He started delivering much faster and much quicker than what he used to, gave lesser time to the batsman. What he was always good at is the fact that he had a good googly. But his top delivery wasn't as quick as he wanted it to because of his angular run-up and his point of release. Now he went and worked on that, and the revolution started increasing. And then you see the big results that have happened. During the IPL, he bowled brilliantly for Delhi Capitals, and post that, unluckily, he had to miss out the World Cup because Chahal had done really well in the lead up to the tournament. But you get the feeling he's just gone ahead of Chahal in the recent past, done really well, and whatever opportunities have been given to him, and he looks a class bowler. In Bangladesh, he took 5 wickets. So you can see the technical changes that he has brought about is really showing up on his game, and that's great signs for Indian cricket. You could ask any cricketer over a period of time, nothing teaches you more than failure, because you need to go back, look deep, and find out where you need to improve. And Kuldeep has been a great example of how he's done that and how he's improved. Rather than sitting and brooding about the fact that things didn't go his way, he made an honest effort to change it, and the results have followed.
And Kuldeep Yadav will enjoy bowling against the likes of David Warner. That is, if he's still batting when Kuldeep comes into bowl sometime in the middle overs. The return of Warner gives Steve Smith a happy headache. Zach, three options. There's Mitchell Marsh, Travis Head, David Warner. What do you do? Who plays where?
I think Mitchell Marsh should open because he's proven that he's in good form. It's a series decider. So you want to just continue with whatever has been working for you. You don't want to fix what is not broken, and you got to figure out a way. Then if you want the left-right combination, if you think Warner is more effective at the top of 1-2 position, then you get Travis Head down to number 3. But I wouldn't try to move Mitchell Marsh from that position, even if it means that Warner has to bat number 3. He has done that in the past. He's been around for the longest time, and he's played international cricket, batted at different positions, played different kind of roles, has got that kind of experience as well. So I think I would continue. The ideal scenario for Australia at this stage in the decider, continue with Travis Head and Mitchell Marsh, because that has been working very well for them. Slot Warner at number 3.
Head and Marsh's numbers are staggering, and it perhaps give Australia a reason to not mess with that combination, which has worked very well for them after Aaron Finch retired and after Warner's absence as well for a while. DK, for you, if you had to pick your 2 of these 3, would you say Head maybe in the middle order to spread it out a little bit for Australia?
I respectfully disagree with what has been said. I just feel that, yes, winning a bilateral is very important. There is no doubt about it. Though in the recent past, in the 6-8 games that Head and Warner have opened, they've got a terrific record going together. The biggest question is, what are you looking at for the World Cup? Is it going to be Head and Marsh? If that is the answer, then go with Head and Marsh. If you're looking at seriously the fact that you want to open with Head and Head and Warner, then you should look at Head and Warner. That is the bigger question. That is a question the Australian coach and the captain should be very aware of. Whatever is the decision that you're going to take today should reflect on what you're going to do 6 months down the line and give them the run in the opening slot. 2 good games shouldn't change their thought process, but if they feel that, wow, this is a great combination and they've done really well, left, right seem to be working, go ahead with it and do it and stick to it till the World Cup. That will give the players clarity and also the freedom to perform the way they want to and go out there and express themselves.
Well, cricket history is replete with pairs that have not been left-right. Sachin Sehwag, Gilchrist Hayden as well. Do we in the cricket media from the outside talk too much about this left-right business? As a bowler, what do you make of it?
Look, left-right combination does provide you that kind of advantage, right? But that doesn't mean that it has to be left-right. It's about 2 batters going out there and creating that kind of impact at the top. Opening position, be it test matches or ODIs or T20s, it's of the most value. That basically sets the tone for the game, tone for your innings. So that position, number 1, 2, is the most crucial position for any team for that matter. And if you have the left-right, it's an advantage. There are good pairs of left-right combination also who have done well. Rohit Sharma and Shikhar is another example how consistently they've been giving those kind of starts. So that is purely on the basis of who is performing consistently and whether they are able to do that impact for your team or no. When you're talking about the opening and whatever you've seen from Mitchell Marsh, he might not be opening regularly. But you look at the best performance and the best impact when a player does, and you judge the player on the basis of that. So if you have to reshuffle the whole thing for that's not a bad thing. So I think when you're looking at this Australian team and when you're looking at Warner where he is in his career, what he is looking at, at that stage in your career, you're playing a role. You're not the driver at that stage. You are playing a supporting cast. So the supporting cast, and you want to extract the value, you can extract the value in different ways as well. So Mitchell Marsh, to me, that way, is going to be the opening batsman for Australia. Now, from whatever cricket he's playing, if he's not fit, then that's a separate story. But otherwise, not just here, I would say Delhi Capitals also should look at Mitchell Marsh opening.
Just a little hint of what Zaheer Khan, the IPL fan, thinks about Mitchell Marsh as well. Now, David Warner has made it amply clear that he wants to play in the ODI World Cup as well as the T20 World Cup next year. So it's a happy problem to have for Australia. Now, during the Test series, what we do on our shows on Cricbuzz Chatter is we ask our experts who dominated, who won which session. We don't do that with the ODI series. But DK, would it be fair to say that Australia have been the better side and they won more passages of play in the two ODIs so far?
I mean, the scoreline stands at 1-1, so India has played well in certain parts. There is no doubt about it. They've been consistent in their struggles as well. I think the openers and the top order have struggled a bit. That has been the case in point in both the ODIs that happened. Australia, on the other hand, the moment 2 wickets have fallen, have found a way to kind of lose too many wickets and get bowled out much quicker than what they should. So Australia have a different problem. Both the teams have bowled well at different parts. Australia far more consistent because they in many ways did what was required up front by the fast bowlers, whereas India in the first match did that, but the second match got absolutely pummeled. Overall, if you say Australia have a slight upper hand in terms of how well they have done in different phases, yes, but does that have any impact going into today? Not too much. I think today is a very different place to play cricket in. People will tell you we can play in various parts of India, but Chennai is a different ball game altogether. It is hot, and that is the biggest deal breaker for a team that's been touring over a period of time. You've seen people in drips, people having glucose, having more water than they ever can. You get tired faster. It's much tougher to concentrate for long periods of time. The challenges are very different, and hence Chennai has been a very happy hunting ground for Team India over many years and produced some of the best matches.
Yes, as a graphic told you, Australia have dominated the power play now. Australia batting first after winning the toss. Let's get Zach to weigh in on what India should do with the ball in this power play, regardless of who bats. It'll be Warner, Head, Marsh, two of those three. What does India do to ensure that Australia don't run away with this innings in the first 10?
Look, we've seen two matches, and two matches from Australian batters. The intent has been very positive at the top. And how do you change that intent? When you get wickets, you suddenly put the brakes on the run rate. You will have that cautious approach. So similarly, what Australia has been doing consistently with the new ball, picking those early wickets and putting India on back foot, that should be the kind of intent. The previous game, you can't really take into consideration how the bowling has gone as far as Indian team is concerned. The first match they bowled really well. So that they need to take a leaf out of that book and then bring it on here, go on with that kind of intent, create those early breakthroughs, put Australia on the back foot. Then you have the spinners and hopefully the conditions which will be supporting spin bowling to come into play and make that impact in the middle overs. Every time Indian team has been able to successfully restrict some opposition to a decent total is by picking up those wickets in the middle phase and spinners bowling in tandem at that stage, creating that kind of a pressure. So that is something which you expect from this decider. You want them to be ready, and because they're bowling first right now, that gives them that slight advantage as well to kind of put that. I wouldn't say that just confusing the Australian intent, but it's easy to carry with that kind of intent when you know that you're chasing 118. When you have to set the total, you have to actually take into consideration how the conditions are, which they failed to do in Mumbai.
Yep.
In Mumbai, they started off well, but even though the conditions were not really supporting that much, they wanted to continue with that, in the process losing wickets. So you need to get them into that scenario and situation, because Chennai over the years we've not seen is a pitch where you can just be on the high intent or positive intent through and through the game. You need to be taking those single doubles. You need to be creative in building your innings, and that one thing is in India's favor at this stage. With regard to how Australia play cricket and with regard to what the conditions would be on offer.
I've just been told Head and Marsh are opening the innings for Australia. Just a quick one before we go to Joy Factor. DK, given that Head and Marsh are opening up top, how about an over from Kuldeep in the first 10? Just to mix things up a little bit, give them something else to think about.
Absolutely. I know probably Zach won't be too appreciative of what I'm going to say, but I feel, bowl both the fast bowlers, see who is more effective in the first 4 overs, and probably continue with them for about a 3 or 4 over spell, but bring the spinner on early, especially Akshar Patel. And this wicket will definitely aid spin throughout. At least will break a little bit for the bowler to have the confidence that he can beat the bat. And Australia obviously have batted fast bowling well. They haven't been challenged by spinners so much. Try and bring them early, get that early wicket, and that will put the brakes. And also the fact that Australia have dropped the Cameroon green, meaning Manus Labuschagne bats at number 5, which is a spot that probably is not going to be great for his batting style. He's not a power hitter. He's not going to run away with the game at that point of time. So Australia have been a little defensive with their 11. They're to leave out a Cameroon green. And Maxwell isn't playing either. So the power pack batting that Australia are used to are only at the top. The moment you get Steven Smith, Manus Labuschagne in, the game will slow down considerably, and that's where India can apply pressure. If they can get a wicket or two in the first 10, especially with the help of some spin and one wicket from the fast bowlers, the game will open up for India where they can control the middle overs. Alex Carey is the only one you can think who can play a few big shots. But other than that, I don't see much power at the middle there.
There you have it, the game plan from Zaheer Khan and Dinesh Karthik as India bowl first in this third and final game. Here's something else for you to think about. Go Google the answer to this question that's coming from Mr. Joy Bhattacharya. What is it on Joy Factor? Which WPL player's debut international match was against Brazil and last international match was against Argentina, both in 2021? Joy, a Bengali, is there a football reference? I don't know. I'll try and bribe the producer to give me the answer, but you guys go figure what the answer is. Dinesh Karthik, Zaheer Khan and I, Manish Batavia, will be back, but we cannot end the show without... No, it's not a prediction. It's just a guessing game, sir. Australia, first innings, how much?
I would say 260.
260? Okay, DK.
248.
I like that number. I wonder what the story is behind 248. I'll try and find out from DK. What's your guess? Just tweet to us and remember to ask questions with hashtag AskCricBuzzLive as well. The three of us will see you at the halfway mark. To join us then. Bye for now.